Nahum 3 and 19. There is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hand over thee. For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rachah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? And pretty much this is a direct quote as you heard me read the book of Nahum 3 and 19. Now, Nahum 3, was applying at one time to Nineveh in Assyria, the capital city of Assyria. Today it applies to America because all of the filthiness of these different empires are all fulfilled here in America. And America has been a great influence in the world on wickedness. And, I was watching different videos earlier of different things, rituals and, all the different filthiness and nastiness and just, in general, the foul, way that America pushes their agenda on the world. And, just got the wheels turning, for a lesson. And pretty much, this place is one of the filthiest empires that ever lived on the face of the earth. And the thing about it is that it claims to be the closest to the Most High. They're always saying God bless America and God we trust and all of this crap. But really, when you examine their deeds, it goes totally against the moral principles of the scriptures. So what I want to do is I want to hit a couple of precepts before we get started. I got a couple of precepts that I wrote down, and hopefully this will be an edifying lesson. All right, when we go to the book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, the first scripture we're going to go to, just to set the stage, is in the 22nd chapter of Ecclesiasticus. And we're going to start at verse 1. The point is in verse 2. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone, and everyone will hiss him out to his disgrace. And that's what's happening right now in America. The Lord is casting abominable filth on this place. And people are starting to see the filth because that cheap veneer that was covering it is starting to fade. So the Lord is starting to shine the light on these devils. And the world is seeing that, so they're opting out of these devils, agenda. And it goes on to say, a slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill. Every man that taketh it up will shake his hand. So like if you happen to not know and you happen to grab a piece of shit, the first thing you're going to do is like, oh my goodness, disgusting, and fan your hand to try to get that stuff off of your hands. Well, that's what America is. It's the filth of the earth that has infested the minds and the psyche of these people out here. And when they realize it, they're trying to get it off of their hands, but it's too late because that shit engulfs them. It's like a plague. So let's go to the next one in the same book of Ecclesiasticus, but this time the 27th verse. The 27th chapter and the 4th verse. Oh, matter of fact, I'm going to start at 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're witnessing the overthrow of the final empire, heathen empire of the world, which is the empire of Esau. And they claim to be people of the Most High, a Judeo-Christian nation that believes in the Bible, but they're not, and they did not hold themselves diligently in that. So their house is being overthrown, and it's going to soon be torn all the way down when Yahweh comes back to rip them out the frame. As when one sifteth with a sieve, the refuse remaineth, so the filth of man is in his talk. And when you go into the prophecies of the scripture speak about, America, later on down the road, when we read Daniel the 7th chapter, the fourth beast being the Roman Empire, and America being a part of that, because it would fall and then come back into power, right? And the talk of America is nothing but filthiness, pushing that alternative lifestyle on the world. And that is straight up filth from a nation that claims to be the people of the Most High and to uphold the principles of the Bible, and they don't. So when you read uh, the 25th verse of Daniel 7, it says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of times." And that's how they blaspheme the Lord, blaspheme the Son, blaspheme the angels, the heavens, blaspheme the people of the Most High, the true Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, by telling lies, slandering, bringing about, the wicked, their wicked agenda, which goes contrary to what the Lord's righteous principles. All right. So when we read the 23rd verse of this same chapter, it says, "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth," and that is the fourth heathen kingdom upon the earth, which would be the final one, but there would be like a intermediary period, or like an intermission between the two, right? It says, upon the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth. The ancient Roman Empire did not devour the whole earth, but they did through America and through the Renaissance period, America and her allies, which is nothing more than the revival of the ancient Roman Empire, and they have subdued the whole earth. So we're at the waning years, or the falling years, of the American Empire. It says, "And shall tread it down and break it in pieces." And that's what they've done. They've corrupted all of the moral values of the world. And the nations that are not with this immorality are being persecuted for trying to uphold some type of righteous principles. All right. So now let's go from there. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 6. It says, "For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." So the Lord gave them a certain portion of time to do what they had to do, and now they are in their falling years. This is why Yahweh said, I seen Satan as lightning fall from heaven. All right, and this also brings to mind in the beginning, right? During the time of, matter of fact, let's get two precepts. Let's first let me hold this real quick, but then I'll read the other one first. Let me just get the right verse on this. Let me hold that, and then we'll come back. But let's get the book of Genesis, since I mentioned that. Let me get the book of Genesis, chapter 6. This is why the scriptures say that the things that are written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through comfort and patience of the scriptures might have hope. So let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 4, verse 11. It says, "How should thy vessel then be able to comprehend the way of the highest? And the world being now outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that is evident in my sight." Because remember, the Most High said that his eyes are purer than to behold iniquity. And the earth is his. He created this place by his angels, beginning with Yahushai and the rest of the angels, his beloved son Yahushai and the rest of the angels. So the Lord sees this. Yahweh has angels down here that are constantly watching and reporting back to him all of the filth and the things that are going on in this world. And the Lord is about to take this place out, just like he took the old world out during the time of Noah and all of the individuals that were back then. This is Genesis 6 and 5. And the power saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. So imagine back then, about close to 6,000 years ago, how wicked the earth was. And how much more wicked is it now than then? So if the Lord destroyed the earth by water back then, what is he going to do now? He's going to destroy it by fire, which is the second death. The first death being the what they call, fancy way of saying flood, the deluge. So it was like a big flood that destroyed the earth back then. And this pressure from all of that water is what caused the breaking up of the earth, which was one mass at one time, something called Pangea. Pangea means all. Pan is all, and Gea is where you get the word earth, all earth, because it was just one big mass. And then after the flood, or during the time of the flood, that's when the land masses broke up. This is where if you look at a world map, you can see that all of these different land masses can all come together as a jigsaw puzzle, because the Lord broke it apart during the time of that great flood. Why? Because he separated one part of it to this side of the world, which was going to be used as the catapult to bring in the end of the world, which is America. All right. So reading on, it says in verse 6, and they repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowl of the air, fowls of the air, for it repented me that I had made them. And why? Because they became completely corrupt. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So Noah and his household represented the elect at that time, just before the flood. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, and Noah walked with the Most High. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And this is how the earth was repopulated after the flood. It says the earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. So how much more now that the technology that they have is far greater, the weaponry that they have is far greater, the ability to disseminate information worldwide is much greater. So it's a vehicle to push wickedness on the earth. And that's all that America does, is push nothing but wickedness, because the people that control it, which are the small heads, they're the ones that have that influence, because they're the head family, the head of the wicked family, the synagogue of Satan, the head of wickedness. They personify wickedness, and everybody's following behind them. And this is why they took over this country, because they wanted to push that filthy agenda of theirs. So as we read on, it says, and the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. It says, and the Most High said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me. And pretty much the end of the world, or the end of an age, is coming for this world, because Esau is the end of the age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. 2 kings can't sit on one throne. Okay? I don't know if they went up there and told you, but 2 kings can't sit on one throne. For the earth is filled with violence through them. Through who? Through Esau, the nations, and Jacob. It says, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So we're at the point now of the earth about to be destroyed. And as the Lord told Noah to build the ark right now that's being built is a spiritual ark, which is a habitation for, to hide from the destruction that's coming. When we go to Isaiah 26 and 20, right, it says, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers. What are the chambers? The chariots. And how do you get a reservation to these chariots? By being a part of the elect, being sealed before the world began. So come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee, just like the Lord shut the ark with Noah and his sons and his family, their families. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, because America is going to be destroyed in 1 hour, until the indignation be overpassed, which is what? The great anger, righteous anger of the Lord that he's going to bring upon the earth because of the wickedness that has been pushed throughout the four corners of the earth, mainly through America, that's pushing that filthy lifestyle. Now, that filthy lifestyle is everywhere on the planet, even before America was established. But America helped push it to the levels of ad nauseum, to where they're forcing this shit down your throat, So let's go from there. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 4 and verse 11. It says, how should thy vessel, meaning the vessel of who? Of Ezra, then be able to comprehend the way of the highest? I had some precepts for that, but I might save that for a different lesson. It says, and the world being now outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that is evident in my sight. Right? Then said I unto him, it were better that we were not at all, than that we should live still in wickedness and to suffer and not to know wherefore. And this is heavy because here it is, Ezra being a prophet, a righteous man in the sight of the Lord, he equated himself to being wicked, to not measuring up to righteousness. All right. So let's go from there. Let's jump down to the 23rd verse. We're going to read a couple of precepts here and there and jump around. So verse 23 says, for it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily. Namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen. Right? It says, and for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations. All right? Ungodly nations. Let's go real quick from there. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, the 12th chapter. Because the nation that's in charge right now is Esau. Even though the nations have their, stake, they stake their claim on the earth because Esau gave them a little portion. Esau is the one that's running things. Proverbs 12:26, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. So they're being seduced by Esau. Right? So going back to the end of, or the middle of the 2nd Ezra 4:23, it says, and for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations, and why the law of our forefathers is brought to naught, and the written covenants come to none effect. And that's what they're trying to do. See, back then, you did have the Babylonian Empire that destroyed the temple. They burnt the records, the law, the Torah and everything. They took all of the golden vessels and the silver vessels and things of that nature out of the temple, but now in America, it's being done spiritually, so to speak. And there's an article out to where the feds want to know, want a tally of the people that are buying Bibles. I wonder why. Because at the end of the day, the Bible is the biggest threat to Esau. And not just the Bible itself. The Bible is the main thing because it's the word of the Most High. But the people of the Bible, which are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, especially the ones that can see. It says, verse 24, and we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy. It says, what will he then do unto his name, whereby we are called? Of these things have I asked. Right, and that's why the Lord made that promise to Abraham. And that promise with the oath is still in effect to this very day. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. For the world hasteth fast to pass away. And this is why we're hastening the day. Because even though it seems like it's taking a long time, it's moving along. It's in Mach 10. It's in hyperdrive. It's in, it's moving. right? It says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come, for this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities, right? And that's why the world can't see the next world to come in righteousness, because this is all they see before them, because of the corruption that's in them. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. Right. Why is the destruction thereof not yet come? Let's go back to the book of Isaiah, the 26th chapter. Let's go up to the 18th verse. We have been with child, we have been in pain, meaning we're like a woman in travail, catching hell, waiting for deliverance, waiting for salvation, waiting to be comforted, waiting to be swaddled, waiting for the salvation and finally to be able to breathe and be able to exist without all of this negativity around us, right? It says, we have, as it were, brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. And that's why back in 2nd Ezra 4:28 it says, but as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. Why? Because the inhabitants of the earth, which right now the Edomites are in power, they have not fallen. But they will fall. Yahushua saw them fall. He said, I saw Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Why did he say that? Because the main power of Esau is his sword. His military, the men, but really the technology that they have, their fighter planes, their stealth bombers and all of that, these are their angels. This is their protection. So when Yahushua said that, he saw, in the future when he came back with Michael and the rest of the angels, destroying Esau and their planes and everything falling from the sky, being disintegrated, turning to powder. Right? Verse 29, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good, right? Because two kings can't sit on one throne. That's why the scriptures speak about hastening the day. And the hastening the day part means wanting this place to be destroyed so that the righteous kingdom of heaven that the Lord promised can be established on the earth, as he said, which is Yahushua's kingdom. And we are joint heirs with him. It says, for the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time. What time? During the time of Ezra, which was around 400, 500 BC, in that time frame, somewhere in that area. And how much, so by the time that Ezra was given this vision, there was great wickedness on the planet Earth. And that was about 2,500 years ago. So how much more now in this time hath wickedness multiplied from that time till now? And remember, this is just prior to Esau getting into power. When the Greeks came into power, that was the first time the Edomites had control of the world. And when they came into power, that's when wickedness really started to take root on the planet. And how much shall it yet bring forth unto the time of threshing come? And we're approaching the time of threshing. Right now, we're in the process of taking all of the grapes, right, of the harvest and putting them on the threshing floor. Once the floor is filled, that's when the threshing begins. And once Esau pushes that MOTB, which is the micro C hip, fully, that's when just about when the threshing is about to begin, because at that time you can see already World War III is formulating. All of the players are in place or getting in place. They're all getting prepared. Everything is being set up. So once they push that MOTB, that's what's going to be the breaking point. That's what they call the linchpin. Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed hath brought forth. Right. From that time, when Eve went off and Adam went off, all the way until the time of Ezra, all the way up until now. And when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill? Because remember, we're dealing with the whole entire planet. We're not dealing with the known world or the old world as they call it, you're talking about the whole entire planet now. You're talking about 8 billion plus people that are on the planet right now. And how great a floor that's going to fill, even greater than before, right? So it says, then I answered and said, how and when shall all these things come to pass? Wherefore are our years few and evil? So he's asking a question. And he answered me saying, do not thou haste above the most highest, right? Because even Yahweh Shai said that no man knoweth the hour, only my Father which is in heaven. So the angel is telling Ezra, look, don't try to haste above the Most High, because your haste is in vain. For thy haste is in vain to be above him, for thou hast much exceeded, right? Because you're receiving visions of things that are happening, that are going to happen in the future, more than anyone else out here. But you're still trying to, overreach. You're doing too much, Ezra. No, let me stop. It says, did not the souls also of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers, saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward? Right, because the scriptures speak about those that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. The prophets are going to be hastening the day. The false prophets are not, because they know that what they're teaching is bullshit. So they know that eventually they're going to be found out. So that's why they're not pushing the end of the world. That's why they're not pushing the MOTB. That's why they're not pushing prophecies. Because they know that this shit is bullshit. So they're trying to stall for time. They're trying to stay here. And unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seeds is filled in you, because you have an elect out there, for he hath weighed the world in a balance. So the world has been weighed in a balance. And Esau, when he took over, even when he took over during the Renaissance, what did they do? They took the Bible, claimed to be the people of the Bible, started changing things in the scriptures, came to the Americas, set up and took this land from Gad and the other tribes that were here, set up a so-called Christian, community, and claimed to be the people of the Lord, pushing the Bible and pushing the tenets of the Bible, which they don't. That's what the Lord said, unto the wicked, what has thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenants in thy mouth, seeing I hate his instructions and casting my words behind thee. And that's what you do. But to the world, you make it seem this way. So the world has been weighed in the balance. But guess what? The balance is being tipped towards wickedness, because you claim to be the righteous, but when you look at the actions of the earth and the way that the balance is imbalanced. It's not balanced, unbalanced, because it's tipping to the left. And it's tipping way down to the floor. And the righteous part is all the way up in the air, and the wicked part is all the way down, because the wickedness is heavier on the balance, of the scale. So it says, by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he doth not move nor stir them until the set measure be fulfilled. And we're witnessing now the set measure being fulfilled. One of the final things or final prophecies to be fulfilled is the MOTB, which is a micro seed. Once you see that happening, and once you see it taking root in the earth, even more than it has, that's when everything else is going to move a whole lot faster. All right, now let's go from there to the book of Isaiah, chapter 19. There's a lot of prophecies in the book of Isaiah that are still to be fulfilled and that are being fulfilled each day. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 19. This is a very important prophecy or scripture for end times. All right, Isaiah 19 and 14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. So the Lord has mingled this perverse spirit out here. Why? For his purpose and his plan. Through the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. They're the ones that's pushing that filthiness upon the planet Earth. It says, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. And these people are so bugged out that they've been drunk off of this Babylonian juice, this fermented Babylonian juice, that when you try to talk to them, they cannot reason, because their mind is saturated with this wickedness. That's why when you talk to these dickheads out here that are all about, you know, binary and no binary or no gender or all this bullshit. They are seared. They are so bugged out. They are so filled with demons that they cannot reason anything else in their mind but that bullshit that's been injected into their vein, that poison that's been swept into the rug. Inside joke. You know, but that's the filth that has covered the whole entire planet Earth. You know, and Jake is the ones that are pickled in it. They're the ones, the main ones that are pickled in that. All right, let me see. Let's go from there to the book of Revelation, chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17. And let's see. I started one. And there came there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That great whore is America, which is that great city that rules over all the earth and over all the kings of the earth. And the Lord is showing them the judgment. The many waters represents peoples, nations, tongues, so on and so forth, which America is known as what? The great melting pot. All right? This is the greatest melting pot on the planet. All right? It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. So how did the kings of the earth commit fornication? Fornication is adultery. How did they commit adultery? They left the tenets or the laws of their forefathers to cleave to Esau and uphold his BS laws in order to receive benefits from that. And what they did in turn was push that false, negative, demonic, filthy lifestyle on their people. That's why it says, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of a fornication. Why? Because when the leaders of these people took on the American ways or Americanization for money, they pushed it upon their people, and their people are drunk off of it. That's why when you observe through different videos, when you observe through, you know, the way that the structures are built in these different countries, when you look at their lifestyle, when you look at their diet, a lot of them are dying because they're eating that garbage that they eat here in America. You see all of the same restaurants, all in China, all in Singapore, all in Dubai, all in all these different nations around the world. And you see the women starting to twerk, starting to do certain things, dressing scantily, you know, barely having anything on, being the sluts that America has produced. So they've been corrupted by that. And that was the fault of their leaders, because their leaders took the bag from America and had to push that filthy lifestyle upon them. This whole alphabet lifestyle, they pushed that on their people. Now some are fighting against it, but the majority of the world as a whole is latching onto it to receive the benefits. But now at the very end, when they see that things are not working out, they're trying to get away from the American way. Okay? And a lot of them are leaving America because the American dollar has been devalued so much that it costs so much money for them to run their businesses out of here and ship things back and forth, that they'd rather go back to their country, you know, have cheap labor, make their stuff in their country, you know, have it, everything in their country, and then just ship it over to America just to be sold, so they can make the most money out of, you know, their venture, so to speak. All right. So let me see. There was something else, and this whole lifestyle has been pushed on the whole world, especially on you Jakes, you know. And back then, through the Greeks and the Romans, that was pushed on Jake, and that's why the Apostle Paul was cursing Jake out in Romans the 1st chapter, 1 Corinthians 6, you know, dealing with that foul, filthy, you know, alphabet lifestyle. And that is the thing that they're pushing on the world, along with everything else, the P to the E to the D to the O, and all of that other filthiness that you see going on. Where are they, you know, pretty much glamorizing that from? America. I don't think there's any nation out there that has a curriculum in school, so-called educational curriculum, where they're teaching their 4, 5, 6 year old children, to choose a sex. If they want to be, the opposite sex, they could be the opposite sex. I don't think they're pushing that anywhere on the planet. But here now, the nations are, getting into bed with America, so they may be pushing that in their country, but that really started here, because that's not something that you push on the children, But that's what they're doing here, having drag queens, teaching kindergartners, making it normal. That's not normal. It's not normal for a man to put on a dress and a wig and some lipstick and act like a woman. Put on some high heels. I'm supposed to believe your big fat hairy ass is a woman? You got to be out of your fucking mind. But that's the shit that's being pushed. That's why it says, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually. And that's what the Lord is going to judge this place. See, they didn't take heed to the scriptures. Let's go to, what is that? 2 Peter chapter 2. And let's see. Right. I started at 4. For if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down into to hell, meaning to the grave, and delivered them into chains of darkness, which is, these bodies, to be reserved unto judgment. Right. And that's what they're being reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world. See, which world? When Noah was on the scene, the first world, before the flood, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. In America, the Edomites that run America, that run the world, they are the ungodly who prosper in the world. That's not hard to tell. All you got to do is look at these. Don't look at no Jeff Bezos and no Warren Buffett. None of that. They're not the rich of the world. The rich of the world. You talking about the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. Different. Emersons. The different nations. The different banking families that run the policies of the world, that own damn near everything. Through their 5 major corporations, Vanguard, BlackRock, and others. They're the ones that's running things behind the scenes. That's who the ungodly are of the earth. Now, the other ones are ungodly too, but they're lower level ungodly. All right? So it says, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, which are 2 major cities of all 5 cities, Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zoar. I believe Zoar was the other one, the 5th one. He destroyed all 5 cities. He was going to spare one because of Lot. He wanted to go to the little city, which was Zoar. But then when they started seeing the devastation coming upon Sodom and Gomorrah, he took off with his daughters to go to the mountains. All right? And eventually the Lord destroyed that city, because those 5 cities were pushing that wicked, filthy, alphabet people agenda. And the Lord took them out. So it says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample or an example unto those that after should live ungodly. So you have no excuse, because you have the scriptures, you have the area, down at the bottom of the Dead Sea in that area, and you have certain archaeologists that have gone down there, that have actually looked into those regions and done, tests to show you that there's still sulfur and like something came and burnt that place up. Because the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through the, using the angels, caused fire, the different elements to come together in the air and formulate and bring those different elements together to create fire that burned down upon these people. And that's the same way he's going to do this time. But this time he gave Esau the technology of the nuclear missiles to do that. So on top of the nuclear missiles, you're going to have the lasers from the chariots, and it's possible that the Lord can cause that also to happen again, for fire to actually rain down from heaven. You know, don't be surprised. So they have all of it. They've done all of the research. They have their excavation experts. You know, different archaeologists and all that have found all of these things and found out that these things are true. They have the records. They have the instructions. So there's no excuse. But what do? They continue to push that filthy lifestyle on the world. So what's going to happen? They're going to be punished. It says, and deliver just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, because that's pretty much what's happening right now. The prophets, the righteous prophets, represent Lot today, you know, and they're grieved, you know, with the filthy conversation of the wicked, you know, and everything that they're pushing. It's grievous, but you know, we understand that these things are necessary in order to bring forth the destruction. You cannot bring forth destruction unless there is some evil or some crime being committed. And this crime that's being committed is taking grip of the whole entire planet Earth. So it must be so in order for the end to come. It says, for that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing vexes his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. And they're going to continue to do this shit until the Lord brings the destruction upon them. That's why the Lord said that they didn't consider their latter end. Oh yeah, they were having fun doing all this wickedness, stealing land, stealing riches from people, putting people into slavery. They didn't consider that at the very end they would have to pay. And now we're coming to that point. And now the Lord got the prophets out here telling them that they're about to go into captivity, you know, and they don't want to accept that. They don't want to receive that. They don't want to pay. But like what's his name? Charles Manson's father told him, you know, you did the crime, boy, you got to do the time, boy. And that's where we're at that point where they're about to do the time. They're not going to want to do the time. They're not going to hold themselves accountable. But the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, is going to hold you accountable. And you will pay. You're going to swallow it down, as the scriptures say. You're going to drink it and swallow it down, which is talking about slavery. And there's going to be a long time. And it makes sense that there'll be that 1,000-year period. Because you've had the earth fucked up for a long time. From the time of the Greeks to the time of the Romans, then coming back up through the Renaissance period. So you well over 1,000 years of doing wickedness on the planet Earth. You know? So your time is coming. Your time is coming. So, you know, pray that, you know, you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.